If you're a graduate student interested in an academic career, you'll likely encounter requests for you to submit a document called a CV, whether it's for a fellowship or a grant application or a faculty or postdoc job opportunity. A CV, short for curriculum vitae, is a document that represents your academic biography. It's a comprehensive document that includes all your academic credentials and professional accomplishments. This document will grow longer as your academic career progresses. Unlike a resume, which is usually 1 or 2 pages long, the CV doesn't have a page limit. At the same time, however, you want to make sure that what you include in your CV is relevant to the opportunity that you're applying for. The purpose of a CV is to convey information about your academic qualifications that would interest a committee enough to want to interview you. Since CVs differ based on discipline, we recommend that you take a look at CVs of newer faculty in your department to see how they structured their document and see what they accomplished. We'll talk more later about how to tailor your CV for different applications, but in general, you can change the organization of your CV to fit what kind of fellowship, grant, faculty, or postdoc opportunity you're applying to. If you're prepping a CV for the academic job market, it's important to understand the institution you're applying to. Is it a top tier private research university or a small liberal arts college with a strong focus on teaching? Or is it a large public university that mostly focuses on teaching undergraduates? Or is it something else? One of the ways to learn about the college or university is through the job ad, since they usually provide information about the mission, size, and type of institution. You can also do some online research into the university and college to know how they market themselves. Check out their main website and read up on their quick facts and about us sections. You'll also want to understand what the makeup of the student population is and what the curriculum is. Is there a special core curriculum or a distributional requirement system or a general education program that the institution requires of its students? Knowing this can help you understand how you might fit in to the mission of the institution. You'll also want to check out the department or school's webpage to learn more about them. Doing some research into these different areas of the department can help you better understand who they are and how you might be a good fit for them. Another webpage to check out is the webpage for the Office of the Provost. Some of you may not know what a provost does or who those people are, but that's okay. You can think of the provost as the chief academic officer of a college, the person that oversees faculty development. On the provost webpage is usually information on tenure and promotion, faculty resources, including funding and collaborative opportunities. Knowing all of this information can help you better tailor your job documents for your application, including your CV. Although there is no required order of sections on your CV, check to see if there are field or discipline-specific formats you should be following. You'll also want to prioritize certain sections of your CV to tailor your applications for certain institutions. Research experience and teaching experience are usually the two main sections that can be switched depending on the job and the institution. For most PhD candidates, education is usually the first category on your CV. You'll want to make clear when your degree is expected, both the month and the year you anticipate finishing. Some postdocs might want to have current position as first category, then list the education section. In addition to listing your institution, degree, field, and year of graduation, you can also provide information such as field of concentration, title of dissertation, and dissertation committee, including the name of your advisor. In some disciplines, it is common to include a very succinct summary of your research that focuses on questions asked, methods used, findings, and relevance. The Honors, Awards, and Fellowships section of your CV can be a separate category of your CV, or if you only have a handful of awards, you can list them under the relevant degree in education. If you have this as a separate section, we encourage you to include recognizable, significant awards. You might use the heading Selected Honors and Awards if you have quite a few. If you are an international student, you may need to explain some of the honors. Were they given for academic excellence? Were they based on something you applied for? Were they competitive? Can you find a way to describe the award that will help it make sense to anyone who reads this section? Sometimes it can be helpful to indicate concisely why you were given the award. For example, if a scholarship or fellowship was awarded because you were among the top 5% of your graduating class, you can include that information on your CV. Whether you have separate publication and presentation sections or a combined one, we recommend subdividing your sections if you have a long list. If you have a long list for your publication section, for example, you can divide it up into subcategories like peer-reviewed papers, book reviews, abstracts, etc. If you have a long list for your presentation section, you can use different categories like invited talks, conference presentations, and guest lectures. If you have a short list, it is helpful to list it all together under the main header. One of the questions that we often get is whether students should list articles that are in preparation. We always recommend listing a few that are in progress to demonstrate to the search committee the exciting research that you are currently working on. These should be articles that will realistically be published. Additionally, make it clear that these works are in preparation. If you have articles that have been submitted, you can make note of that as well. If you have manuscripts that are in press, in print, or forthcoming, you can list them with other published papers. If you are applying to postdoc fellowships or faculty positions, it's helpful to have a research interest section so that search committees can quickly know your interests when they glance at your CV. One way to think about what to include under this section is how you answer the question, what have you been doing? And what's next on your research agenda? These must be credible. If you are asked about anything that you list under your research interest during an interview, you should be able to elaborate. We also recommend that you use keywords associated with your specific research interests and expertise. Sometimes the job announcement can give clues on relevant terms that you can use. Keep in mind that the search committee is looking for evidence that you will have an independent and strong research program. In the sample research interests listed, you can see that simply listing the relevant keywords is sufficient. You don't need to write complex sentences. Here is a sample teaching interest section. Here is a sample research experience section. You can see that the student has used bullet points with action verbs to clearly outline the research undertaken and the publications that resulted from the work. In some disciplines where securing grant funding is a key part of doctoral and postdoctoral research, a grant section is used to designate significant funding. This is different from dissertation and fellowship support that is usually listed in the honors and awards section on the CV. If you have not received significant grants, you can still highlight your grant writing expertise in other sections of your CV, including the research section. For the grants section, be sure to list the funding agency and the projects that were funded. The work supported by the grant can be discussed in detail under your research experience section. Many graduate students and postdocs will also have a professional membership section. This is where you can list your memberships in scholarly associations. This is very discipline specific. In the sample professional membership section, the scholarly associations and the years of active membership are listed. If you have service roles within your professional associations, you can either list them in professional memberships or in the service section. The last section of your CV should be references, where you can provide the contact information and titles of the individuals who will be willing to write letters of recommendation for you. We suggest that you provide the same number of references that the institution or employer requests, which should match the contact information for the people who will submit or may have already submitted the letters on your behalf. Don't provide different contacts than those who are submitting letters. As your academic career progresses, your CV will evolve and likely grow longer. If you're getting ready to apply for faculty or postdoc positions, take a look at CVs in your department and discipline, especially those of newer faculty members. It's also helpful to look at the CVs of those who were recently hired in the department and institution to which you are applying to. Get an idea of what kind of CV made the cut in previous faculty searches. If you have a draft CV already, take some time to make some edits, and then share it with your advisor and at least one other colleague to ask for their feedback. With each academic position that you apply to, be sure to tailor your CV for each position or kind of institution.